Hello everyone, welcome back to Ishika Foundations. Now we are studying the very first chapter, that is Indian architecture, sculptures and poetry. So we will study in detail. So the very first thing, that is, what is an architecture? Architecture is a Latin word which is derived from tecton, that means builders. Okay? In the same way, sculptures was derived from Proto-Indo-European root kel, which means to cut or cleave. That means architecture in the sense buildings, and sculptures are something which are made by using our hand, by cutting, and by using tools and etc. If we look into the difference, architecture refers to in terms of buildings and constructions, and in these various tools are used such as stone, wood, glass, metal and sand. Whereas in architecture is completely involved in the study of engineering. It requires more mathematics, more dimensional analysis and measurements also. But where it comes to the word sculptures, it is a three-dimensional works of art where it was only done by using single type of material. Let's say one big mountain is there, and all these persons who is like gonna build something new out of it will cut it, or will clave it, and it does not require more kind of measurements, but it requires a lot of creativity and a lot of imagination. Example is Taj Mahal for the architecture, and Natraj Swami, where all these Bharatanatyam people will pray as the goddess. So, in detail, we want to study. First, let's study the Indian architecture, where we'll be studying from the Harappan civilization to the modern British rule. Okay, and all of you just make sure that you remember this classification of architecture very carefully, because in this each and everything what was mentioned here we are going to study in a very depth manner, very depth, in such a way that we are going to learn inch and inch about it, what we have found in our excavation. The first and the most ancient one is Harappan civilization. So how did we got to know? Basically all these scientist people, when they are like searching or roaming in and around the India, what they have found was near the Indus River they found some kind of civilization, and this is in the year of second half of the third millennium BCE, and it was spreaded across northwest and western India. Okay, just remember that this Harappan civilization was found near the river Indus. That's the reason why it is also called as Indus Valley civilization. Okay, there we found sculptures, seals, potteries, jewelries also, and it is more close to the urban civic planning. That means we found a lot of roads, houses and drainage systems in the both Harappan and Mohenjo-daro major sites. These are the place where we found all those all these materials and all these things. Okay, now next, these tables, let's learn it separately because it will be more of remembering only. And what is there so special in Harappan civilization? The first thing is like in Harappan place and Mohenjo-daro place, what they found was like will be one rectangular shape and it will be divided into grids from north to south and east to west, and in the middle they made a right angle. Big roads will be referred to the blocks and smaller roads will be an pathway towards the main road. And there are like three main types of buildings, that is dwell houses, public buildings, and public paths. And more interestingly, the bricks were burnt and which was prepared through mud. Okay, and this will be their citadel, and this is their lower city. And now, what is this citadel? Citadel is basically their washrooms and bath areas. There are no pumping system in their ancient time. So what they used to do, they used to do all these washroom there, and through pipe systems all this dirt area used to come here and filling into the drainage systems here. Here people used to live, and here only some kind of higher people used to stay. That will study in our next lines. Here also there will be two kind of citadels. One is the upper citadel and the other is lower citadel. Now, this in this upper citadel, more kind of granaries used to be there. Granaries means basically where all these what do we say, the storage of food grains what which they have cultivated used to stay in their in these granaries. And also administrative buildings and pillared halls and courtyards. Courtyards is basically a little kind of garden or some kind of spacious area where you can sit and relax. That used to be there. And these upraised citadels are especially for the rulers and aristocrats. Okay, they were only used to stay in this upper citadel. Okay, and now the next in the let's study the lower. Okay, here and here there used to be no any kind of monuments used to not be there. No monuments that which they were in our later period we found in Egyptian and Mesopotamian civilization. It was not there, and the granaries also were in such a strategic air ducts used to be also be there. That means air used to be passed. Now, if this is the granary, some small air ducts used to be there such that air can enter, pass, and it will go. And public bath areas also used to be there, where there will be people bathing in that. There will be divided separately, and they used to do. This is the great bathtub area that which we have found in Mohenjo-daro. And the next is lower part of the city. In the lower part of the city, most of the working class people used to be there. Working class people are somebody who will be worked and who were under those rulers and aristocrats. But the interesting thing is like they always used to find a separate private well, private bathroom, and proper ventilated rooms. And also double storage used to be also there. Nowadays we tell no, this is like duplex building. At that time only they only used to have. And there used to be a very advanced drainage system such that ki uh, whatever the wastage is coming from the upper citadel used to be cleaned, and very hygienic it used to be there. And also the cesspits also used to be there. And when it comes to the sculptures, as you remember we had discussed in our like in our higher table that Sculptures are basically something which will be handmade through one single material without using any kind of machines but the individual creativity and imagination. And in this case, in the sculptures, they did four things, that is seals, bronze, figures and potteries. First, if we study about the seals, seals used to be in different shapes such as square, rectangular, circular and mm, triangular. But all those seals used to be made from separate kind of material such as uh, this steatite. This you can just google it for your understanding, you'll understand what kind of material is that. And the other is like chert, and the other is like copper, france, terracotta, copper, gold, irony. All these are like materials through which they have done. And they found that if this is the seal that which they have prepared, so most of the seals were used in terms of like trading, that we'll study in our next lines. But imagine this is the seal that which they have made. There used to be pictographic script, that means from left to right, if once you read, and the next line will not be starting from like this. First line will start like this, you have to read like this, and the next line you have to read like this. These kind of things used to be there. And animal impressions also used to be there. These are the animals that which we found in that sculptures. But unfortunately we have no evidence of cow, and this is like a mysterious thing which scientists are doing it again. And the inscriptions used to be in both sides, and one side and third side also used to be there. Half man and half animal also used to be there. And this was especially seals were used for most of the important thing, for the communication purpose and for the communication purpose, where discovery of various seals was happened at the time of Mesopotamia and Lothal. These are like famous sites where we found more number of seals. These are like locations beta, just don't confuse because of that. Locations where we found, and the seals were extensively used because of the trade. And also the important thing is like we also found seals on the dead bodies of somebody. Let's say now this person has got dead, and on that dead body there used to be one hole, and the hole should be on that manulet also. Let's say we are wearing a necklace which was given by somebody, and at the time of death they did some hole, and that hole was also is there for this amulet also. Okay, this was especially we found in the owners. Maybe we assumed in the modern era that this was only worn by the owners, and for some kind of identification, maybe this we assumed. And the other thing is like the mathematical images were also found, which might be used for the educational purpose, maybe, such as swastik. I hope you remember this. So swastik, I'm sorry if I'm doing it wrong, where it goes like this. This is the swastik. And these examples, search it in the google such that it will be embedded in your brain very fastly. And the other thing is like the bronze figures. These bronze figures are actually very interesting, where see, first of all they used to take the wax. Okay, with that wax only they used to make certain images. Let's say they made some elephant image, and on that image they used to coat it with the clay. Like one elephant they'll make with the help of wax. Upon top of it they will coat with clay, and they will burn it. Once they burn it, what happens, like they'll let it dry, and then they will burn. When they will burn, what happens, the inside wax will be coming out, it will be melted. So once it comes out, no, they will put a hole in somewhere, and they will make sure that all the wax inside it will be like uh, came out of that elephant image. And at the last what will be left, only the clay thing that which they have made. So like this they made even 3D shapes also, One important thing that which we found is like bronze dancing girl in Mohenjo-daro. Okay, this is the girl if you can see, and the other is like terracotta. Terracotta is basically fire blacked clay, where this was done by the pinching method. Pinching method is something which is very close to the modern, where what do we say? It was done with the help of hands only. This we found in Gujarat and Kalibangam. This is the figure that which you can see. I hope here we doesn't have, but somewhere the men red color image will be there. If you search it in Google, you will be getting. And the other thing is like pottery. In pottery also there are like two types. One is plain pottery and the other is painted pottery. So the painted is also known as the red and black pottery, where in that pottery trees, animals, birds and geometrical patterns were also found. And especially when we did research on that, we found that plain pottery is used for the household purposes, and the miniature vessels uh, are very less, like it was especially used for the decorative purposes. And some other potteries where you found large holes such that maybe to store or to strain liquor, or like to just grab water inside, like what do we say, it's like a mini mesh in our modern times. And these ornaments also na every men and women used to wear in that times. And the ornaments are also were very precious. From the metal stones it started, and from metal stones, gemstones, bones and baked clay, they did not even left one thing. Whatever the material that which they can make, they made ornaments and they used to wear it. And ornaments like necklace, fillets, armlets, finger rings, all these things they used to wear. And girdles, earrings, ankles were worn by the women. And beads are made from these kind of materials. If you can remember, you just remember this little we have come across in the previous place only. These beads we have found it in these places, Choundaro and Lothal. And when it comes to the fabric, the cloths that which they used were from cotton and wool. And especially the splinters and rolls were made from the expensive fans and cheap clay. And fashion was also very conscious at that time. Most of them were like, when these are like images that which you can see. And the breedest priest is the one that through which we got to know that these many things were also there. And red sandstone figure from male torso. This is the person that which I am talking about. And here we have completed our Harappan civilization. Next class we will be studying about the Mohenjo-daro.